All right, welcome to Season 3, Round 8, Nemesis Racing League. We are at the famous Silverstone track in the UK. So, yeah, welcome on board. Hopefully, we'll have a good race today. Let's talk a little bit about last week. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about last week. So we had a newcomer to the league, Callie Robb, who put it on pole. So was pole position and had a decent race. I think he finished on the podium, if judging my memories correctly. Honesy was the winner last week in the Ferrari, and yeah, it was a good race. Just trying to remember it a bit now. So, yeah, race results last week. So, it was Honesy who took home the win. Delta Lima had the fastest lap. And Callie Robb took out pole position as well. And then you also had Red Bull were the top performing team. So, yeah, it was a good race last week. Hopefully we've got another good one in store for you guys today. Thanks for joining us. Mark of Kenya, very strange to see him out so early in Q1. So what else do we have? So yeah, Silverstone, what a circuit. As Mark of Kenya sets fastest up at the moment with a 1:25. Speaking of times, world record time for Silverstone Online's a 1:20.1. So we'll see how close the guys out there can get to it today. As let's have a look. Who's out there? Ted Wardo. Did a little bit of analysis of Ted Wardo this week, and let's go to qualifying results. Yeah, so Ted Wardo, he's been a strong qualifier. So he's made, he's only missed Q3 twice so far this season. So he's been a relatively strong qualifying performance, but doesn't necessarily translate into race results. So we'll have a look at Ted Wardo this week, and we'll see how he's going with it all, as we see him going through the famous Stowe corner there, turn 15. So yeah, Silverstone, if you're not familiar with it, you really should be, because it's they call it the home of racing. Pretty much, it's definitely a bucket list circuit. Silverstone, I know that I would definitely like to visit. It's a 18 turn circuit, 5.89 kilometers. Some of the most famous turns in Grand Prix racing, in racing in general. Alright, who are we on board here? We've got Ted Wardo. Who's coming around? Delta Lima's on his outlap, I think. Yep. Looks like we've got a new runner, a new person in the lead tonight. FedEx runner. Set to 1:25.9 to go into P4. So, welcome FedEx runner. Sam Spaniel. Looks like another person as well. So we've got a few reserve drivers in the racing with us tonight. We've got this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are. We've got some new guys. A few cars out on track at the moment as well. So here's that was last week's. Yeah, what about Delta Lima? Delta Lima is rocking their classic Michael Schumacher helmet. I hope his back's alright. I don't know if anyone saw on the Discord chat this week. Looks like he sits in a very uncomfortable seat. A lot of pillows on Delta Lima's chair there. So, yeah, hopefully his back's feeling alright. Looks like he's set this purple sector in Sector 1. So he was fastest lap last week, Delta Lima, in the Haas. Pomp on Purpose is usually his teammate, but doesn't look like he's with us tonight. It's FedEx runner instead. So Yeah. As he comes through the Maggots Beckett's Chapel complex there, heads down the Hanger Straight, and you head into the right-hander of Stowe. It's a great circuit. It's a real driver's circuit. It's nice and free-flowing. I think it would have suited his teammate, actually, Pump on Purpose, who likes those kind of free-flowing, long-radius corners. But never mind, he's not here with us today. But yeah, Delta Lima, so 127.3. So continuing on his fast form from last week. Mr. Woot is back with us today. Good to see Mr. Woot back. He had his best performance last week, and it looks like he's trying to build on that. So it's a 126.3 at the moment. So Mr. Woot's got his race off to a good start. What about Will Earns? Will Earns had a bit of a rough week last week. As we see, Hounsey set the fastest time of 124.9, so 0.3 faster than anyone else. Mark of Kenya's the next one there. Toss the Cabers up there as well. Dommy Lee's just set his first fastest time of a 125.024, so he's in the mix as well. He's third in the championship. And speaking of the championship, we should probably have a quick look there. So at the moment, it's Stein is in the AlphaTauri. I believe he's racing tonight. Yeah, he is. So Stein in the AlphaTauri, he is 108 points, followed very, very closely by Honesy. So Honesy is in P2 on 107. Then it's Dommy Lee in third position on 74. I think that's Stein here. So yeah, here we are on board with the championship leader. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, it looks like it's AlphaTauri are out in front there on 137 points. Then it's Ferrari on 109. And then you have the Red Bull team on 106 in third position. Williams is in fourth position on 93. And Mercedes rounds out the top 5 on 83 points. So we'll see if AlphaTauri, do they have two guys here? They do? No. Oh, yep. So Zandvoort is back. Zandvoort hasn't been here for, I know, at least last race. So good to see him back. The two Dutchmen there in the AlphaTauris as well. And Honesy has a little bit of help with him as well again this week. Dace TG in the second Ferrari. So Kachow just set looks like he set the fastest sector there. Purple sector is sector 2. So we'll finish off his lap as he comes into Vale Chicane. Then heads around Club Corner and goes pole position at the moment. Goes the fastest, so a 124.9, so a little bit faster than Honesy there at the moment. So Kachow's in good form. He raced in the Switchback Formula Racing League last week, but Stein goes even faster, so it's a Dutch 123 at the moment, at 124.8. So times are starting to come down. Conditions look pretty good out there. What about last week's pole position winner? Pole position sitter, I should say. Callie Robb, the American in the Renault, had a great outing for his first qualifying session last week in the Nemesis Racing League. Let's see how he goes today. So we've got just under 7 minutes. So left is a 125.3. So a good start for the American there in his second week in the Nemesis Racing League. We've got Stuart Little here. I think he's on a bit of a cool down lap. He's currently in P9 at the moment. Yep, he's definitely on a cool down lap. Tiny Darspike, he's on a cool down lap as well. Just try and keep up with the action. We'll see who's out there. Yerdis. It's a good performance at the moment. P10. He's looking strong so far today. We'll see if he can get some points as well. I'm not too sure if he's scored any points yet. No, he hasn't. So, yeah, we'll see if he can get on the board. Yeah, all these guys have been out. What about Sam? Oh, Sam Spaniel is spinning. All right, where is that? That is at he's just come out of Farm Curve there, so just near the loop. It's an interesting place to spin. I think there's a racing point near him as well. The second racing point, Yurtis, was around near there too. Okay. What about Mr. Woot? Are you on a fast lap again, Mr. Woot? We'll have a look. Oh, I think he is. I think he's set the faster a purple sector for sector 1. So let's ride on board with Mr. Woot. So we have 5 minutes left of Q1. This is round 8, the British GP in season 3 of the Nemesis Racing League. Only two runners have yet to set a time. Look at this. We'll see how he goes through here. I think Mr. Woot's running with minimal assists as well. That was pretty good through Maggots and Beckets. And another purple sector. So Mr. Woot is flying at the moment. Let's stay on board. So yeah, Exotic and Dace TG yet to set a time. Dace TG is out on his outlap at the moment. So we'll stay on board with Mr. Woot for this. As he comes around the last turn. Hits the line and goes a 125.4. So that's good enough for P9. The two Renault drivers in P8 and P9 there. What's Yurtis got? Yurtis is in P11 at the moment. I don't think he's going to improve his time with that. Definitely not. Okay, so I think Ted Wardo is out there as well. Yep. So he's just coming through the Vale Chicane. He is currently in P14, so drivers in, and he's moved over to P13. So it's Racing Point P12, P13, and I was going to say the Renault guys were together, but they're not anymore. Exotic just slipped in there and set a time. He's a 125.3. So 3.5 minutes left in Q1. If this is the first time joining us, we have three. We do full qualifying. Sorry, we do full qualifying in this league. I know a lot of other leagues do the short 18 minutes, but we do full qualifying here. Will Ans. So Will Ans had decent he's qualified all right. Last week, I'll just see where he's qualifying. Yeah, so he didn't make it out. I think he had a spin in Q1 last week. So the week before, though, he had his best qualifying result. He made it through to Q3 for the first time. But yeah, had a bit of a rough qualifying session. Didn't make it out of Q1 last week. So hoping that Will can at least get into Q2 today for his home Grand Prix. So we've got a lot of British drivers. So you'd have to assume they would have done a lot of laps around this circuit like anyone does of their home city Grand Prix. But he looks like he's pulling out of that one at the moment. Sam Spaniel, reserve driver today. He's in P16. Not too sure if he's going to finish that one. And Dace TG's finally out. Alright, so I think he's about to set a time. Oh, he sets a nice time as well, 25.3. So that's good for him because there's only 2 minutes left. So drivers in the drop zone are FedEx runner, Sam Spaniel, Delta Lima, Zandvoort. Oh no, Zandvoort not anymore. Where did Zandvoort just go? He went into P8. Alright, so Zandvoort is out of the drop zone. So that puts Will Ans into the drop zone. So Will Ans, FedEx runner, Sam Spaniel, Delta Lima, and Juan. I noticed no Cornet F1 again this week. Not too sure where the Dutchman is. He's usually in one of the McLarens. But yeah, Sam Spaniel's going to hold it down for him today. So here's Tiny Darth Spike. Qualifying for him last week, he made it into Q3. So he's made it into Q3 the last 2 weeks. His teammate though, Dommy Lee, has made it through to Q3 all 7 rounds so far. So the only driver in the league to have done that. And at the moment, he's on track to repeat that performance as well, W. Lee. But we'll see if Tiny Darspike can get through to Q3 and hold it down for P3 in the Constructors' Championship as well. So, 43 seconds left. Looks like FedEx Runner's not going to attempt to get out of the drop zone. What about Delta Lima? Delta Lima's definitely not going to get out of the drop zone, going on the grass there. And yeah, it looks like Tiny Darspike is... He's going to have a go at it anyway. He said it... Oh no, has he said a purple sector? I think he might have. At some point there. Let's see. Yeah, he uses all of the curb there. Got on the power pretty easily there too, Tiny Darspike, and translated into a good lap time there as well. So a 1:25.1 to sit P6 as Q1 is coming to a close. Sam Spaniel is definitely not going to make it out, and then Delta Lima's going back in. So it looks like the 5 dropping out is Will Ann's, FedEx Runner, Sam Spaniel, Delta Lima, and Juan. As Kelly Robb sets the fastest time for Q1 with a 1:24. Let's see, 1:24.7. Kelly Robb. Q2 is underway. Who we got? Mark of Kenya is going out early again. So this is unlike Mark of Kenya. He hasn't done that much the last couple of weeks. All right, so let's so Mark of Kenya is out early. All right, who else do we have out there at the moment? I believe it's going to be a dry race as well, which is good. All right, I'm just working through some technical difficulties at the moment. I'm trying to get Van Rocco here for a guest to help commentate with me. So just apologies for any sort of like skipping out or not really making sense. All right. So it's Mark of Kenya. He's the first man out on the circuit. Let's ride on board with Mark of Kenya, and we'll see how he begins his lap. But anyway, so coming through the Maggots, Beckett's, and then out through Chapel. This is a tricky corner. It looks easy down the hanger straight. Let's see if he takes Stowe flat. Well, you can't really take Stowe flat, can you? He drops down 6th into the Vale chicane. Yeah, you got to really climb. Ooh, you did climb those curbs. Out through the club, get the power down. Goes to 125.2. So Callie Robb set the Q1 time 124.7. Mark of Kenya's gone to 125.2. Mr. Woot is 26.05. Yurtis is coming through to set a 126. Looks like who else do we have out there? We have a Red Bull out there. Is that who was that? That was Mr. Woot. So he's on the mediums as well. He's had a spin. That is just near. I think that's near the loop, near Village, is where he's turned it around. So he's set a time though. So that's oh no, Mr. Woot! He dirty hip and shoulder there. Is he got any damage? Oh, I'm not too sure what happened there. He hit a Ferrari, I think. Was it Honesy? It might have been Honesy. Does Honesy have any damage? Nah. Kachow's left the session. Oh, alright. So. Okay. Alright, so. That seems like everyone's gotten away with it. Alright. Alright. We see Exotic running a bit wide. Who else do we have? So that's Exotic, he's on the mediums. Tiny Darth Spike, he's yet to set a time as well. He's out there. So the only driver's yet to set a time is Tiny Darspite, Honesy, and Zandvoort. Honesy just sets a time of 1:25.6. So a good time for him. Mark of Kenya goes a 1:25.2. Oh, Zandvoort just put in a time then, so of a 1:25.3. So they're in the dropping slowly lower into the 1:25s. Callie Robb's yet to come out and have a run yet in Q2 with 7.5 minutes left there at the moment. As we'll stay on board, Kachow seems to be back. He's joined the session again. Alright, so how's Tiny Darspite going? He has set a 1:25.9 as well, so he's good enough for P7 at the moment. I think Kelly Robb is on his, he's setting his fast lap at the moment. So we'll stay on board with him. Dace TG goes a 1:24.9. Wow. All right, Dace, where have you been hiding this from? Is that on the softs or on the mediums? It's on the softs, but still, that's a good time from Dace. We don't see him necessarily setting times like that. So, Callie Robb P5. So good to see Dace TG doing very well. That's welcome news for Honesy in the Ferrari to have his teammate well up there. So that's brilliant. So good work, Dace TG. Stein, our championship leader, is just about to head out, I believe. And he is out, and he's about to start his fast lap. Oh, we've got yellow flags somewhere on the track, not too sure. But we seem to be all good with that. Dommy Lee's in P3 at the moment, so I haven't caught him yet on camera. I'll try and get him. Apparently he has a new helmet, a specialty helmet for his home Grand Prix. I'll try and make sure I capture that the next time he's out on track. So we're seeing Stein just traversing through Brooklands and Woodcote. Going through Cops Corner there. That's pretty much flat. And then this, one of the best pieces of road in the world, this Maggots and Beckett's through Chapel. Let's ride on board with him as he takes Stowe. We saw, I think, were we on board with Will Ans? He went down to 6th gear. Yep. Oh, very nice line there. Now into the Vale chicane. Yeah, the secret's to get that inside curb. Beautiful. Doesn't run too much curb on the exit. Through club. Hits the line. A 1:25.3. So a nice solid time from the championship leader. That's good enough for P4, and his teammates right up there with him as well in P5. Kachow's yet to set a time. Mr. Woot, how are you going, Mr. Woot? So after his great qualifying performance last week... Oh, no, I've just put the Mozzer on him. Mr. Woot's turned around. So we've seen him turn around a couple of times today. As I said, he's running with minimal assists, so I don't know what his traction control is like. But it's good to see him in Q2 anyway. Who else is out there? Stein is out there as well. I think he's coming in. So we've got just under 4 minutes left in Q2. And this is Season 3, Round 8 of the Nemesis Racing League. We're beginning to get to the... we're well onto the second half of the season at the moment. So it's a 15-round... season, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's correct. But yeah, so and it can't be much tighter than it is at the top. So Mr. Woot comes into the pits. I think Yurtis is on. He's trying to set a time. So he's P8 at the moment. I don't know if he's going to improve his time. He's on the mediums. So he's just coming through cops now. Let's see how he goes through. Make it seem like it's flat. Yeah, that's nice. You generally want to drop it down into 6th gear to come through that final right-hander part and into Chapel. That looked good. Who else? So at the moment, it's Dace TG is on pole with a 24.9. So Kelly Robb settled 24.7 in Q1. But he said 24.9. Mark of Kenya in second with a 25.2. Domi Lee in P3. Stein and Zandvoort, the 2 AlphaTauris in P4, P5. And then you have Kelly Robb, Honesy, Yurtis, and Stuart Little in P9. And Tiny Darspike to round out the top 10. Mr. Woot, Ted Wardo, Exotic, Tosta Caber, and Kachow are all in the drop zone. Kachow, though, is yet to set a time in this session. So he's on his outlap at the moment, though, so he will be doing that very, very shortly. As we watch Stuart Little go through Maggots and Beckett's, blasting down the Hanger Straight under the bridge. I think it was the Hanger Straight. I think it was 2008, maybe. The crazy guy came out onto the circuit dressed as like a leprechaun. Don't know if everyone remembers that. A very strange race to watch indeed. So Stuart Little, he's P9 at the moment, but goes into P3, so a 25.3. So nice work there from Stuart Little. The 2 Mercedes are P2, P3 at the moment with 38 seconds left. Let's see the guys in the drop zone. So Mr. Woot, Ted Wardo, Exotic, Toss the Caber, and Kachow are all at risk at the moment. Tiny Darspike's in 10th, and Yurtis is in 9th. I think this is equal best. Oh no, Yurtis has been into Q3 once so far this season. That was round 1. Oh, and Ted Wardo's not going to make it through to Q3. So Tiny Darspike is in the elimination zone at the moment. He's started his lap though. He's about halfway through. So the time he has to beat is at 25.935. He's currently at 25.998. Kachow still yet to set a time, but he might be going through, Maggots and Beckett's at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's on the, I think he's just in front of Kachow. He is. All right, we'll stay with Kachow, because Tiny Darspike's just behind him. So Mr. Woot and Ted Wardo are definitely out. Honesy is in P10. He's in the pits. So our championship leader is at risk of elimination. So we'll see how Kachow goes. Kachow could knock Honesy out here with his time. Honesy is out. So Kachow is moves up into P9. Wow. Okay, so Honesy, he's been such a strong qualifier. He's never missed Q3. So this is the first time that Honesy will have missed Q3. Wow, our champion is P2 in the championship. So Mr. Woot was the other one who's missed after his great qualifying last week. Yurtis has missed out as well. And then Honesy, and then last week's pole sitter, Kelly Robb, is not going to make it into Q3. So, and it was Tossler Caber that caused all of this up the top there, and Tiny Darspike as well. So, and Dace TG, so some different names. Well, Dace TG is definitely an unfamiliar name there. So, yeah, Kelly, Robb and Honesy, they're the big shocks of missing out on Q3. So it's Tossler Caber, Tiny Darspike, Dace TG, Mark of Kenya make up the front row. Then it's Exotic, Stuart Little, Domi, Lee, Stein, Kachow, and Zandvoort, who are going to be our Q3 participants. Wow, so that's quite a big shock. Let's see what was fitted though. Yeah, Callie Robb was on the softs, Honesy was on the softs too. So that's like they've legitimately missed out. Stuart Little's got a little bit of pace there. Have a look at him on the mediums, P6, a 25.3. Looking good, Stuart Little. All right. Domi Lee, once again, 8 weeks in a row, he's made it through to Q3. Death, Taxes, and Domi Lee making it through to Q3. All right, that's our top 10. So Q3 is going to start very soon. All right. Okay, so here we are, Q3. We're ready to go. So it was a 24.8 was the Q2 fastest time, a 24.7 in Q1. So it sort of looks like its conditions are staying relatively the same. Who's going to be the first one out? Is it going to be Mark of Kenya again? I think it is. It is Mark of Kenya. So, yeah. He's leading us away the last few weeks. If you've been watching, he's been the last one out. He's got a 180-degree turnaround, and he's saying, no, I'm going to be the first one out. So it looks like it's Mercedes Williams at the moment. So Dace TG, this is definitely Dace TG's first time in Q3. It has to be. According to my... Yeah, it is. So he hasn't made it out of Q1 the last 2 weeks in a row, and his best qualifying performance was Q2, and that was back in round 4. So this is very, very out of the blue. So well done to Dace TG. Whatever he's doing, maybe it's just one of those tracks. Silverstone is one of his favourites, or he's had time to practice and he's been able to put some time in. But whatever it is, well done to Dace TG for his best qualifying effort so far. We'll see how far up the grid he can get. A lot of familiar names though, other than that, with Kachow's usually up there. Stein. What about Stein? In terms of qualifying, yeah, so he's usually this is his equal best qualifying performance as well. So he didn't race last week. The week before that he was Q2. The week before that he didn't race, and then round 3 he was Q2. So the last time he made it into Q3 was round 2. So another good effort from Zandvoort there. Stein, he's a regular in Q3. Toss the Caber, he's usually in around Q3. He hasn't made it out of Q2 the last 2 weeks. He's only made it into Q3 3 times this season. So a good result from him. And then Stuart Little, he didn't make it out of Q2 last week, but he's in Q3 this week. And who else? And we had Domi, and yeah, Domi Lee speaks for himself. His 8th appearance out of 8 in Q3 this season. So Mark of Kenya is leading us around. Mark of Kenya at the moment in the Drivers' Championship, he sits P7, just ahead of his teammate in P8. So he's on 41 points. and Stuart Little's on 40. So, yeah, Market Kenya shows good pace over one lap. I have sort of noticed he had that spectacular crash at Circuit of Americas last week. I think he was a DNF last week. So, usually, yeah, good qualifier. I'm not too sure what happens to him in the race. It can be a bit hit and miss with Market Kenya, but he sets a 125.1 as his first run in Q3. We see Kachau's going to be coming through as well. He goes fastest with a 24.5, so that's the fastest time we've seen so far. This is Tiny Darth Spike. He's on an outlap. What about Dommy Lee? So yeah, Dommy Lee with the, oh look at that, very patriotic red, blue and white helmet for his home Grand Prix for Dommy Lee. Shout out to Dommy Lee as well, and Honesy for some stats that they provided this week as well. So some very insightful stuff, especially around first lap performers. So positions made up, and we see Dommy Lee set a 24.8. So those times are starting to come down. What about Dace TG? He is... Oh, yep, so he's only just started. He's just coming through the loop at the moment. So Tiny Darth Spike and Dace TG are yet to set a time in Q3 at the moment. But we'll stay with Dace. So the time to beat so far is a 24.5 by Kachau in the Williams. Tiny Darth Spike's just coming through club at the moment. So he's not through club, through Woodcote, sorry. Yeah, so we'll stick with Dace. Yeah, nice helmet, Dace. I like that. He's sort of got some... Yeah, it's like got sort of like some distressing on the top of it. That's cool. I've never seen that before. All right, I like it. Red and white, contrast with the car. Maybe it's his lucky helmet because he's having the best performance of the season so far as he comes across the line with a 24.8. So good enough for the second row. So great performance so far in this round from Dace TG. Tiny Darth Spike, he's setting his first time. He has a 25.5. So everyone set their first times, their first set of times at the moment. And it's Kachau in the Williams leading them all with a 24.5. So nice work from Kachau at the moment. So good grid. Who have we got out there? So it looks like one of the... Yeah, it's Market Kenya. So Market Kenya's going to go for his second run. We've got just under 5.5 minutes left in Q3. So we'll see who can put it on pole. It's pretty close at the moment at the top. It's only 3/10 that cover the top 4 drivers. 4/10. And we'll see if Mark of Kenya can do. So I'm just having a look at pole positions. The only driver in this group to have scored a pole position is Toss the Caber. So Toss the Caber put it on pole in Brazil in round 4. So it looks like if Toss doesn't get pole position, we're going to have a new pole position participant in this group. So that's exciting. It's been dominated by the Dutch so far this season. Honesy, Cornet twice. Honesy twice, Cornet twice. We had Callie Robb last week. Freund, who's a reserve driver, he's not racing tonight. And of course, Toss at round 4 in Brazil. So we'll stay on board with Mark of Kenya because he's the only driver out there at the moment. I think his teammates just left the pits. Stuart Little on his outlap. But we'll stick with Mark of Kenya. Let's go for a let's go for a ride on board with Mark Kenya's lap. Not too sure which country he's representing today. Whichever country it is, I'm sure he'll do it proud. As he comes down the famous Wellington Straight through Brooklands, the right-hander of Luffield. Now, I think this is the new Hamilton Straight, I believe. I'm not sure. As he takes Cops flat. And then he's got the Maggots and Beckett's Chapel complex coming up. Yeah, down into 6th. Oh, runs a little wide there. Oh no, is he going to hit the wall? No, he's not. He keeps it off the wall. So he just touched the grass there a little bit coming through Chapel. And he's going to have to terminate that lap, unfortunately. Did a good job to. It was looking nasty for a second, like he was going straight for the wall. So he'll come into the pits. It's worked out all right for him. He doesn't have to do a whole another circuit. Dommy Lee is on his out lap at the moment. What about Stuart Little and the other Mercedes? Can he have a little more luck than his fellow teammate Mark of Kenya, who just had to abandon his lap? We've got 2 minutes left in qualifying. It's Kachow, Stein, Dommy Lee, and Dace TG and Exotic making up the top 5 at the moment. We're on board. We're with Stuart Little at the moment. He's sitting in P8. He's a 125.1. As we see him about to come through Cox. Is it flat? Yeah, pretty much. Lovely. This is a great circuit. This is a real driver's circuit. Just the flow and the rhythm. It's a beautiful, beautiful circuit. It's had some changes. I think 2010 they made some changes. Yeah, he's nice and fast through there. You want to just take a little bit of that curb into rail. Ooh, he rides a lot of the curb, Stuart Little. And he goes to 124.6, so that's good enough for P3. He's on the second row at the moment. Okay, so just try and keep up with it at the moment. Oh, he's on his out lap. Alright, so I think Dommy Lee, we've got less than a minute left, so I just want to try and capture all of the action, and I think Dommy Lee is getting a bit of a tow from his teammate there. So good teamwork from the Red Bull guys there. Yep, this will be Dommy Lee. Oh, will he get another crack at it after this? We'll see where he ends up anyway. Alright, he's in P4 at the moment, a 24.8. And he's set to 24.5, so that's good enough for pole position. So provisional pole position is Dommy Lee at the moment with a 24.5. That's the fastest time that we've seen for today. I think Toss the Cable will have something to say about that though. As we see him coming through Stowe. He's got the classic Michael Schumacher Ferrari years helmet. He's in P8 at the moment, a 24.9. He goes to 24.5, so that's good enough for P3. So we're going to have a different pole position sitter today. Is it going to be Dace? He's on a 24.8 as well at the moment. He's in P6. What time can he do? How far up can he get? He can stay in P6. So he goes a little bit faster, but not fast enough. Kachow is currently in P2 at the moment. He looks like he's gone faster. So if he keeps this up, he will go pole position as he comes around just the final turn through Club Corner. And he does go pole position. It does go fastest with a 24.2. Stein goes to 24.4. So it looks like if Zandvoort can't get pole position, it's Kachow. Kachow's provisional pole position sitter. Tiny Darth Spike goes 7th with a 24.8. Stein hasn't spoiled the party, neither has Zandvoort. So, pole, congratulations to Kachow. So, Kachow is pole position sitter at 124.2. That's quite fast. So, congratulations to Kachow. He's in some fine form at the moment. He's going to be tough to beat today. So, just making sure, marking everyone down at the moment. Dace was in P7, Stuart Little in P6, and then it was Zandvoort. So, good result from Zandvoort there in the AlphaTauri. Toss, good result for Toss on the second row. And then it was, who was it? It was, just we'll wait for it to come back up again. But it was Kachow in P1, Stein on this first front row as well. Dommy Lee was in P3 as well. So, yeah, Kachow, Stein, Dommy Lee, Toss the Caber, Zandvoort, Stuart Little, Dace. Good result from Dace, Tiny Darspike and Exotic. So the three Americans, all three abreast there. And then Mark of Kenya. Is that Denmark? Is he representing today? I think it is, or I don't know, my flags. Anyway, Denmark or Switzerland, or I don't know. Who's the red flag with the white cross? Doesn't matter. All right, so that's our qualifying grid for round 8, season 3 of the Nemesis Racing League. Okay. All right, so it might be so part of the one of the changes to this league is that around the readying up. Obviously, it's a bugbear for if you've ever raced in a league race. Nothing worse than people readying up. So the rules have been changed in this league where we're going to have to wait for Toss the Caber to ready up. So it might take 1 or 2 minutes. But it's just to ensure that everyone can get their setups done, and you know it gives everyone a fair chance as well. So yeah, might take a couple of minutes, but that's just the reason for the hold up. All right, so it doesn't seem like we had any issues with that, which is good. And we're back. So it's Kachow. He's going to lead us away from the front of the grid. Let's have a look at what's been fitted. Oops. So there's the pit stop strategies. So the soft tires. So yeah, the soft tyres around here, lifespan about 11 to 12 laps. The mediums, might be able to squeak out, the 15 to 17. And then the hards, I don't think we'll see the hards today, but you're looking 20 laps plus for the hards. So we see the top 3 though, Dommy Lee, Stein and Kachow, all on the mediums. Toss is going to start on the softs. Zandvoort on the mediums as well. Stuart Little's on the mediums too. Stuart Little's my dark horse for today. He looked good in qualifying. Might be sandbagging a little bit. Kachow though, it's going to be hard to beat. I watched him race last week and he's in some very fine form. Kachow, the German. As we see, Exotic, Mark of Kenya. Now the stats that Dommy Lee helpfully gave us last week, I'll see if I can bring it up. But he had people who've made up most positions from the first lap. So I think it was Mark of Kenya has made up 7 positions on the first lap. So we'll have a look at for him. Someone else who does quite well is Will Ans as well. So Will Ans makes up a lot of positions on the first lap. So Keep an eye out for Mark of Kenya. He's in P10 and Will Ans is in P16. Pump on Purpose is another one who I think he's made up a total of 18 positions so far on the first lap, but he's not racing today. He's actually scored points in every second race this season, so he would have been due for points today, but not to be. Anyway, so they're lining up on the grid now. It's a 26 lap race around the Silverstone circuit. Let's see how we go. So Kachow on pole. It's 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And let's go racing. So Kachow looks like he bogged it down a little bit there. Stein got a good start. Looks like Toss the Caber had a great start there. And Dace is gone, had a good start. I don't see any, oh, that's Dace putting the move on. Oh no, Dace has hit him. He's hit as he hit Tiny Dust Spike. I'm just trying to see if it wasn't Stein. So Dace has taken out Stein. Does he have any damage? I don't think that he does. And that's Zandvoort in the other AlphaTauri battling it out with him. Oh, and Dace has hit him again. So, oh, he spun around. He spun around. He was like a pinball bouncing around there, and he's dropped down to the bottom of the pack. So, not a good start for Dace. He had his best qualifying, but he's not. His race has gone horrible at the moment. As we're watching Kachow and Dobby Lee battling it out for the lead here at the moment. I think those are going through Maggots and Beckett's. So it's Toss the Caber. He's moved up from 4th. Stuart Little. I said Stuart Little is my dark horse. He's already in P4. And Dommy Lee and Toss the Caber battling. Dommy Lee's able to hold the position there. Stuart Little was making ground in the background there as well. But Kachow's already pulled a second gap. Already sets the fastest lap of the race with 1:32. Exotic and Mark of Kenya. So Mark of Kenya's made up 3 positions. Make that 4 positions. No, we'll keep it at 3. No, it is 4 positions. If he can finish this move off. But Exotic's not going to lay down. But he does fall into line there. So Mark of Kenya's already made up 4 positions so far. As these two head into Brooklyn. So Mark of Kenya's able to hold on there for P6. Honesy, he's made up a couple of spots already. He's in P10. And it looks like Dace TG's in the pit. So he's gone from chocolates to boiled lollies, old Dace. He had a great qualifying session, but unfortunately that hasn't translated into the race. So I wonder if he might even be dropping out. I'm not too sure. Mr. Woot! Good job, Mr. Woot. He's in P9. Callie Robb's in P11, the fellow Renault driver there. So good to see Mr. Woot having another strong performance in the Nemesis Racing League. What about Ted Wardo? Oh, Mr. Woot. Who's that? Oh, that was Tiny Darspite going very wide there. Went around the very long way. And Dace has retired. All right. Kachow's just set the fastest lap for 28.7. So he's flying out front. He's a 1.5 second gap. Can Honesy chase down Mr. Woot? Yeah, very uncharacteristic qualifying performance from Honesy today. Oh, was that his teammate there? Dace, yeah. So Dace is retired. So we've got our first DNF of the race on lap 3. And Dace has left. As Honesy looks like he is going to be able to pass Mr. Woot. So Honesy moves up into P9 with that little manoeuvre past Mr. Woot. And Callie Robb's jumping onto the back of this pack as well. So out in front, Mark of Kenya is in P6. He's trying to get into P5 at the moment. He has Zandvoort in the AlphaTauri. Where's Zandvoort's partner? He's Stein, our championship leader, is in P15 at the moment. So he's got a bit of work to do to get back up there. Exotic, has he had a spin? I think Exotic's out. No, where is he? I'm trying to catch him. He's got some front wing damage there. So the Williams of Exotic, he's had contact with someone. So he's dropped all the way down to P17. So that's not great for the Williams team. What about Will Ans? Where did you start, Will Ans? You started in I think P14, P15. So he's made up three positions already. We said to keep an eye out for Will Ans. What about Kelly Robb? So Kelly Robb finished P3 last week. He's currently in P10, qualified out of didn't get out of Q2, and he's got Mr. Woot in front of him, his teammate, as they head into Woodcote. Into Brooklands through Luffield, the right-hander. Then there's the other right-hander, Woodcote. Just keeping an eye on battles here at the moment. So Mark of Kenya has moved up into P5 as well. So the two Mercedes drivers, P3 and P5 at the moment. Stuart Little's taken taken Dommy Lee for P3. So Dommy Lee's dropped down into P4. We're lap 4 of 26. Can Mark of Kenya get past Dommy Lee as well? Tiny Darspike is taking Mr. They look like they're having a bit of a battle here, Mr. Woots and Tiny Darspike. So they've been swapping places a little bit already. And can Kelly Robb take advantage of this? Will Ans is in the background there. So Will Ans is having a very good race at the moment. He's in P11. Let's see if he can get some points today. I think he's on 1 point for the season so far. This is a great little battle that we have here. Or did Kelly Robb make contact with Tiny Darspike? Not too sure, but does that open up the door for Will Ans? FedEx runners about half a second back from this pack. We'll stick with these guys for now. Out in front though, Kachau is absolutely putting on a clinic. He's got a 3-second gap over Tosta Caber in P2, who's having a phenomenal race, by the way. Stuart Little in P3, and then Mark of Kenya in P4. Dommy Lee in P5, Zandvoort in P6. Says Will Ans looks to get past that. Where was that? That was through Cops, I think. So Will Ans has moved up into P10. He's taken the American Kelly Robb. So Will Ans having a great race. Delta Lima, he's past FedEx runner. He's past his fellow teammate. Looks like Stein is going to try and chase him down as well. Let's get back to this group, because this was a good little group of cars to be following with Mr. Woot, Tiny Darspike, Will Ans and Kelly Robb. Out in front though, that lead is growing for Kachau. He's 3.5 seconds ahead. Honesy though is coming up to the gearbox of Dommy Lee, who's currently in 6th position. So Dommy Lee, he started in P3. He's dropped down to P6 in his home race. But it's a German, a Scotsman, an Englishman. Oh, Mark of Kenya has just taken Dommy Lee. Taken Stuart Little. So Mark of Kenya's on a charge. He started in P10. He's worked his way up into P3. So maybe the coming out in early for the qualifying sessions is working for him in the race. Let's see how high up he can finish. He's got Tosta Caber as the next car in front of him. Stein, he's gotten past FedEx runner and Delta Lima, so he's trying to claw his way back up the field. Kelly Robb's still in P11. Will Ans in P10 there. Tiny Darspike and Mr. Woot. They've been side by side for most of this race so far. And they've swapped positions again. So Mr. Woot into P9. Tiny Darspike into P8, as we've seen through the Vale chicane there. He'll come through Club Corner. So it looks like he's been able to keep that. And Will Ans, who's having, I've said this a million times already, he's having a great race. Let's see if he can put the pressure on Mr. Woot to move up into P9. Obviously, Mr. Woot will try and regain his position back from Tiny Darspike. Tiny Darspike's on the soft tyres, of course, which will naturally make him a little bit faster. As we're going down the Hanger Straight, not the Hanger Straight, this is the... That was Wellington Straight, I believe. Yep. Through Luffield. So, Will Ans piling on the pressure on Mr. Woot. Can he get him coming along the front straight here as he goes into Cops? No, but he's going to follow him through Maggots and Beckett's here. We'll stay on board. This is a good little battle. Oh, he ran a little bit wide through there. He had to come off the power. I think he had to hit the brakes as well. So, Will Ans just didn't get it quite right through Maggots and Beckett's. Dommy Lee is dropping down further. So, Honesy. And it looks like Toss the Caber has... Oh, no, he's spun around. Toss. Oh, he was in such a great position. This happened to him last week as well. So a lot later in the race than last week, but he's dropped all the way down to P13. Oh no, Toss, he just doesn't have any luck at all. He doesn't have any damage, so I guess that is a bit lucky, but oh, that's disappointing to see. But one man's loss is another man's gain, so it's Mark of Kenya in P2. Stuart Little in P3. Zandvoort is in P3 at the moment. He's trying to make that P4 as he looks to go around the outside of Stuart Little through Club Corner. Stuart Little's able to hold him off there as he makes his way through Cops. So it's Mercedes P2, P3. Zandvoort is flying the flag for the AlphaTauri team today, while Stein tries to crawl his way up through the field. He's currently in P11 at the moment. All right, Stuart Little's going to battle it out with his teammate here. I don't think there's any team orders between these two. As they go through Vale. So Mark of Kenya's looked strong all race. He started P10. He's moved his way up. Stuart Little was in P6. So he's having another strong performance. Toss the Caber P13. That's really disappointing to see. He was having a great race. I think he's coming into the pits now. So yeah, I think that might be his day done on lap 9 of 26. Kachow just doing a great job out front there. Honesy has moved his way up into P5. So Honesy, he started P12. He's in P5 at the moment. So this is great for him. This is great for the Drivers' Championship because Stein is in the points just. He's in P10 while Honesy's in P5. So this is they would swap. At the moment, if it stays as it is, Honesy would be our new championship leader. But speaking of leaders, Kachow is absolutely flying, 4.8 second lead. It's a battle of teammates here though, and a battle of tyre strategies as well. So Stuart Little's looked fast on those mediums all day, and he's putting a lot of pressure right now on Mark of Kenya. It's almost like Mark of Kenya is almost holding him up a little bit at the moment. We've got a 4-car train here, and it's Honesy sets the fastest time on the medium, so 1:28.6. So he is moving. So Mark of Kenya is starting to hold these guys up, and I think Honesy has just taken Zandvoort, so he's in P4. So he's just set the fastest lap, so we know that he's moving at the moment. And he's trying to move up positions as we see Stein drops down into P10. Will Ans holds P11. Mr. Woot is still in P8. So another strong performance from P8, from Mr. Woot. Dommy Lee and Tiny Darspike, the two Red Bulls in P6, P7. And then Zandvoort is just behind the battle we're looking at right now. And Stuart Little goes around the outside, yes. So they've swapped positions. So Marky Kenya was holding up Stuart Little there, and Stuart Little's now moved into P2. Markham Kenya in P3, but we'll have to see how much longer Markham Kenya can hold that position, because Honesy is absolutely flying. Markham Kenya touches the grass a little bit there coming out of Chapel as they head down the Hanger Straight, heading into Stowe. So I would not be surprised if Honesy is able to have a really good hard long look at Vale here. He's all over him. So we'll have to see if he gets good acceleration out of Club Corner, and if he can have a look through Abbey as we see, yes, lap 11. So I think those tyres for Marky Kenya won't be feeling that well. So he might not put up too much of a fight with Honesy on the medium tyre. He'll want to try and get at least two. Oh, so we've got a pit stops are starting to happen. So Tiny Darspike, Kelly Robb, Delta Lima have all pitted. So we're going to see some of their soft tyre runners begin their pit stops very, very short. We've seen it start already. So we'll see the guys at the front. Kichow and Stuart Little. So the only ones at the front here as Tosta Caber sets the fastest lap there, or 25.7. So that's, or was it a 27.7? I'm not too sure. But it was the fastest lap anyway. So even though he had to pit, where is he? He's in P14 at the moment. So we knew he had pace. He qualified 4th. So the Scotsman will not be very happy at all as we're watching Honesy going down the inside of Mark of Kenya. That was through Stowe. So he doesn't get it done through Vale. So Mark of Kenya is holding on to the bitter end here. He doesn't want to give up his position as we're on lap 12. I'd say Mark of Kenya is going to pit pretty soon. If he wants to make his strategy work, he'd probably go onto the mediums, I would assume. Brent Kichow is absolutely blitzing them at the moment. 6.6 second gap. As we see Yurtis pit as well. Can Honesy get past? He might be better off just to bide his time here at the moment. As they're coming through Luffield, out of Brooklands, into Woodcote now. FedEx runner, so we've got our second DNF. Did he lift there a little bit, Honesy? I'm not too sure. I think he's just being patient at the moment. He knows Mark of Kenya is going to need a pit soon. He might just bide his time on this one. That gives a chance for Zandvoort to sneak up as well. So FedEx runner has dropped out. As we see Honesy looking to go around the outside. And I think he has. Yes, he has. So he's moved up into P3. So Mark of Kenya's dropped back into P4 and he's got a pit. All right. So that's what we were thinking. That's what I was thinking anyway. So Mark of Kenya, he was the soft runner to pit. So the top 4 guys, they're all on the mediums. What's Dommy Lee on? He's on the mediums as well. So yeah, so we won't expect them to pit, the front runners to pit for a few laps yet. So the top guys are Kichow, Stuart Little and Honesy. Zandvoort in 4th. Having a great race, Zandvoort. Having an excellent race in the AlphaTauri. Dommy Lee in P5. Mr. Woot in P6. Will Ann's having a cracking race. This is his best race so far of the season in P7. Stein, after that first lap incident, he's moved his way up into 8th. And Mark of Kenya, after that pit stop, he's in P9. And Tiny Darspike rounding out the top 10 there. Kelly Robb in P11 having a good race again. And we see Tosta Caber's moved his way up back into P13. So yeah, disappointing for the Scotsman in the Alfa Romeo. Wow, Kachow, absolutely just flying. Let's go for a lap and let's see why Kachow is so fast. Oh, that's a nice line through Vale. Gets the power down nicely through Club. As he ticks over, lap 14. Let's do a lap with him. Stein gets the 3 second lap, 3 second time penalty as well. Alright, that's a lap with leader Kachow. So you could see through Maggots and Beckett's, that thing was just absolutely glued to the ground. So let's get back to the action because there's no action for P1 at the moment. Kachow's doing it pretty easy with an 8.2 second gap. But looks like Honesy, while we're on board with Kachow, has taken P2. So the Dutchman who started P12 is now on the podium in P2, and Zandvoort is putting a lot of pressure now on Stuart Little, who's in P3. For how much longer we don't know, but they do touch a little bit. Yeah, there was a little touch, but Zandvoort's managed to go around Stuart Little on the outside through Club Corner, and he's moved his way up into P3. So this is great for the Constructors' Championship. His teammate at the moment's in P8, our championship leader. But well done to Zandvoort having his best race of the season. The Dutchman, we didn't see him last week. The week before that didn't get out of Q2, and the week before that he didn't race. So hasn't been a regular here, but he's making up for that at the moment in a podium position for Alpatori. So Dommy Lee will want to try and catch Stuart Little. Let's have a look at Will Ans. Will Ans and Mr. Woot battling out. Two guys that are having great races at the moment. Similar colour helmets as well, so a little bit hard to tell them apart. And Will Ans is going to pit there, so Mr. Woot will continue on. I think he's on the medium, so he'll be pitting probably shortly, I would say. That's allowed Stein to move up into P8. Mark of Kenya, did he go? Oh yeah, he was on the soft, so he's gone to the mediums. So he's in P9 at the moment, and then Tiny Darth Spike as well. We see Stein has pitted along with Will Ans. Stuart Little's coming to the pit, so he was coming in from P4. So we will start to see the leaders coming into the pits as well. We'll see how long Kachow leaves it. But Honesy is giving chase at the moment. It's an 8.2 second gap between first and second, but it's just over half a second between P2, P3. So that's the battle we'll watch at the moment. As Mark of Kenya, he's moved up into P7. So we'll keep an eye on the two Mercedes drivers as well, who have good pace today. So we're set up for a pretty good end to this race. We've got 10 laps left. It's lap 16 of 26. Of round 8, season 3, Nemesis Racing League. Wherever you are, whether you're watching us live, whether you're watching us on replay, thanks for joining us. So there we go. So Honesy and Zandvoort are both going to pit. Oh, Honesy got a 5 second penalty speeding in the pit lane, so he didn't pull it up in time. Wow, okay, so that's the Dutchman's made a mistake there. He wasn't able to pull it up in time. He's got to get a 5-second penalty for it. Look who it is, Mr. Woot! Mr. Woot has inherited the lead. I know he hasn't pitted yet, but how good is that to see the Welshman out in the lead? Enjoy it, Mr. Woot. He's come on leaps and bounds. Last race was his best race of the season. He's gone away from all assist bar, racing line. He's trying to get better. It's hard when you're racing with no assists, but it's paying off for the Welshman at the moment. He's in P1. I know it's going to be only temporary, but well done to Mr. Woot. Kachow, you've pitted? So he's going to give chase to Mr. Woot. He'll no doubt catch him shortly. But pit stops are all done, and it's pretty much net race. It's Kachow, Stuart Little, Mark of Kenya, Honesy, I believe Zandvoort has pitted as well. Let's just see who has done all their stops. So everyone's done their stops, bar Mr. Woot. So Mr. Woot can have his lap of glory before he pits. But everyone's pitted. All right, so it's race on until the end of the race. So it's Kachow, Stuart Little, Mark of Kenya, Honesy with the 5-second penalty. So that's going to not do him any favours come the end of the race. So he's going to have to try and get up as far as possible, as we see him do just that, as he takes the Mercedes of Mark of Kenya. He's currently P5. So Mr. Woot finally relents and has pitted. So he had his lap in the lead. We'll see where he comes out. He probably near Kelly Robb, P10, I would say. Stein's in P11. So I'd say probably around P11, P12, Mr. Woot. As Stein sets the fastest lap on the softs, goes a 1:27.6. What's Mark of Kenya doing? No, he's not close enough yet, but this is a four-way battle here, as we see Dommy Lee in the background. I'm sure he'd love to get in on a piece of this action as well. But this is going to be exciting amongst these four drivers here at the moment to see who is going to get out on the podium. They're battling for only 2 of the 3 spots, because I don't think anyone's going to catch Kachow today, barring a major catastrophe. Kachow's miles out in front. He's 7.3 seconds out in front at the moment, so it's going to take a fair bit to catch the German and the Williams today. Mr. Woot, he came out in P9, so that's a good result for Mr. Woot. He's 6/10 behind Tiny Darspike, as we see Stuart Little get taken by Honesy. So Honesy's in P2, and Zandvoort has moved up. Oh, Kachow just rubbing it in now. A 26.9 for fastest lap of the race. Looked like he had his car absolutely on rails when we were on board with him earlier. And the gap there insinuates that as well. Stein has a 3-second penalty too. So for multiple warnings for corner cutting. So that's going to have an effect on him at the end of the race. So the main thing now for Honesy will to be try to open up a big enough gap from Stuart Little that his 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty doesn't affect him being on the podium. At the moment it definitely will. But there's still another 7 laps left in this race for him to try and create a gap. That's going to be quite difficult though, because Stuart Little has been fast all day. Zandvoort's in there, Mark of Kenya as well. So we've got a lot of fast guys here. It is going to be hard for Honesy to make up that 5-second gap. So that could be a little bit detrimental to his result. Good for Stein though, because Stein's out of the points. So he'll want Honesy to get as little points as possible. Not in a bad vindictive way, but just in a, friendly competition way. So the distinctive green and gold colours of Stuart Little's helmet. See him in P3. What about Zandvoort? Zandvoort's not far behind. He's got the classic Michael Schumacher Ferrari years helmet on as well. And Mark of Kenya there in P5. Dommy Lee's a fair way off this pack, so he just hasn't quite had the race pace today. He's 5.2 seconds behind Mark of Kenya, this little train of 4 cars. Will Ann's up there as well in P7. So hopefully he can get, that'll be his best result of the season. Callie Robb has moved into P10, so he's in the points paying position as well at the moment. Yeah, Ted Wardo. I don't know what happens to Ted Wardo. He's a great qualifier, but I just don't know what happens in the race. He just doesn't seem to be able to convert. He does have decent qualifying pace, but yeah, just can't seem to convert that into a good race result. He's in P16 at the moment. Exotic is not having a good race at all. He's P18. He's usually up there. The Williams team is quite strong. So I think we did see Exotic have a little bit of damage earlier on. He might have had some kind of incident. He's in P8, and we've got the 2 DNFs of FedEx Runner and unfortunately Dace TG, who had his best qualifying of the session. He qualified P7, but had that early incident in lap 1 as, oh no, Will Ann's has dropped down into P8. I thought he was almost going to spin it around there. That's opened up the door for Mr. Woot. This, oh, you just get the feeling that you thought that was going to end in tears there. No, it's all right. He's coming through the loop. We'll head up onto the Wellington Straight here. So Will Ann's has dropped into P7. Callie Robb just closing up on the back of this pack. Oh, this is a nice little battle. There's Stein in there as well. So we've got 5 cars in this little group here, headed by Mr. Woot, Will Ann's, Callie Robb, Tiny Darspike, and then it's Stein in P11. So he'll be wanting to try and get as many points as possible today, and he's done that. He's moved up into points at the moment. He's just taken Tiny Darspike. So we've seen the Red Bull drop down a couple of positions, and it's Zandvoort now in P3. He's just taken Stuart Little. So it's a Dutch P2, P3 at the moment, and a German in P1. Can the Englishman get up there, Stuart Little? Not too sure. But Zandvoort having just he's essentially net P2 at the moment, because Honesy has the 5-second penalty. He's having a great race. I don't know where this has come from, but whatever he's been doing, maybe he's been away practicing, but Zandvoort having a great race today. Mr. Woot still holding down P7. He's 4.5 seconds off Dommy Lee. I'd like to stay with this pack though, because this is where a lot of the action is. The lead out in front is 7.5 seconds by 7.5 seconds. Kachow leading by. 4 laps left of the British Grand Prix. Can Mr. Woot hold on for his best race finish? Will Ann's be able to will himself past? Looks like it's kind of stretched out a little bit. Toss the Caber. Taking a position from Callie Robb there to get himself back up into P13. Had a pretty dirty day. Looks like he's alright with damage though, so nothing to hold him back there. We'll try and chase down Delta Yurtis. As we see Delta Lima in P11. He's a fair way behind Tiny Darspike though, so it'd have to take some kind of mishap for Tiny Darspike to get Delta Lima into the points. Speaking of Tiny Darspike, here he is, just lurking behind Stein, who's in P9. Oh no, Toss, what's happened? He's dropped a position to Yurtis. Or Delta Lima's dropped down. Did Delta Lima get damaged? Did he have contact with someone? I reckon he did. Yeah, it looks like they're... Oh, no. Oh, there's a... Callie Robb's pitting as well. So, was it... I'm not too sure. They weren't too close together on the circuit. So I'm not too sure what happened there. As we see Will Ans and Stein battling it out. Will Ans was, I think he was in P8 still. So Stein is coming through, trying to get himself up from his earlier incident. We saw, who did we see earlier on? Touch the grass coming out of Stowe, not Stowe, coming out of Chapel. But anyway, the AlphaTauri of Stein is collecting more points as he moves into P8. Will Ans drops down into P9 and Tiny Darspike is going to try and get him into P10. Mr. Woot in P7. This is Dommy Lee in P6. Oh, it's close at the front here though, with Stuart Little and Zandvoort. This is essentially for P2, P3 because Honesy is definitely not gapping these guys, and he has that 5-second penalty. So this is essentially for P2, P3. Mark of Kenya isn't on the back of this group, so he had pace early on. He made up a lot of ground off the start. As Will Ans drops down into P10, so he gets taken by Tiny Darspike. We'll get back to this battle here though, because this is essentially for P2, P3. The gap is still hovering around 7 seconds out in front. Kachow is doing it pretty easy with 2 laps left. So the last race I commentated on was one for the Switchback Formula Racing League, and Kachow won. For the next race I commentate on, it's Kachow winning again. So, like I said, he's in some great form at the moment. Okay. Alright, so we'll wait and see. I can't see any other real close battles down the pack. I think maybe Toss the Caber and Yurtis. This is for P12 and P11. We'll get back to the front though, because it's starting to heat up and I don't want to miss it. Yep, so I think Honesy, Zandvoort and Stuart Little. We're going to battle this out until the end. Stein, he's in P8 as we see Toss the Caber take Yurtis. He's 10 seconds behind Will Ans, so I don't know if he'll be able to make up one more position to get in the points. Now Stein has a 3-second penalty, so that would probably drop him down into P10. So he'd only get 1 point. Honesy would probably shake out around P5, P6, depending. So we would have a change of championship leader if it stays like it is at the moment. But Kachow is beginning the final lap. And that means that Zandvoort has one more chance to get past, but if he's smart, he'll just hold off here. If they just sort of stay line astern, they'll finish P2, P3. So that'd be a good result for Stuart Little. I'm not too sure if he's been on the podium yet this season, so that's a great result for Stuart Little. Have to tap myself on my own back. I did call it. I did say he'd be a dark horse in this race at the beginning. Check the tape. Zandvoort though is like, stuff it, I want to get P2 on the track. I'll make sure I just keep an eye on Kachow though, because I want to get him crossing the line. He's going through the Maggots-Beckett's complex at the moment, but we'll just stick with these two because we want to see if there's going to be a change for position on the track. Kachow's just heading through Stowe, making his way down to the Vale chicane. I'll try and leave it as last minute as I possibly can. Kelly Robb sets the fastest lap, but it's all for naught as we watch Kachow win round 8 of season 3 of the Nemesis Racing League. Looks like Honesy's going to be able to hold off. Oh, as he clips the wall, he's dropping down into 4th. So Zandvoort's in 2nd. Stuart Little's in 3rd at the moment. Honesy stayed in 4th. Looks like he's going to get 4th. Mark of Kenya in 5th, coming home in 5th. Mr. Woot with his PB result. He finishes in P6. Dommy Lee in P7. Tiny Darkspark in the other Red Bull in P8. Stein looks like he's going to stay in the points. Will Ends gets points. So that's his best points position for the season. Stein finishes, P10. Toss the Caber comes across the line in P11. So after having great pace in the beginning, just some bad luck once again for the Scotsman. Looks like Yurtis is going to cross the line in P12. His teammate is not far behind him in P13. So unfortunately no points for Racing Point, but not a bad result. One gets P14. Sam Spaniel, the reserve driver today, finishes P15. I think Delta Lima's American, I believe he is. He's going to come home in P15, so I think he had a little bit of a late race incident. And then poor Kelly Robb finished P3 last week, finishes P18 this week. So not a bad race. Kachow kind of did sort of just dominate there, so we didn't get much excitement for the lead and things like that, but a good result nonetheless. Kachow is on fire at the moment. He's in he's in a rich vein of form. As I struggled to talk, as we see the podium celebrations, we'll have a look at the race results and then we'll quickly wrap it up. Okay, here we go. So that's this is the finish. See incidents. There was some corner cutting. What was the 2 DNFs? Unserved penalty. Yeah. Was there terminal collision? No. All right, so that was that's how it shaped out. So where are we next week? I do this every week. I never know where we're racing next week. Let's check it out. Calendar. We are going to be in France. Paul Ricard circuit for round 9 of the Nemesis Racing League. So thanks for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed it. Wherever you are, stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your morning, day, afternoon, evening, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you next time.